Unmute yourself and do your introduction.
All right, can I be heard now?
Unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Jeffrey Gabrian, Chair of the Design Review Advisory Committee, and I'd like to welcome you to this afternoon's virtual meeting. Required meeting agenda and application materials are all available on the town website. As in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of intermission of COVID-19, this hearing is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order number 7B. Will the town planner please call the roll and explain the virtual meeting rules of quorum and procedure for this meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd DeMay, Town Planner. For the record, Jeffrey Gabrian. I'll note for the record, Jeff is here. Sheldon Crosby. I'll note for the record, Sheldon is here. Just as a reminder, you need to unmute yourselves when addressed to speak. Ray Giolito.
Present.
For the record, Ray is also present. Kimberly Parsons Whitaker.
Present.
Present. And Hugh Schweitzer is not present. I am Todd DeMay, DRAC Secretary, and I am present. With that, Mr. Chairman, that is the roll. Again, for the record, I would like to note that we have a quorum of the committee. The committee members and town staff are participating via WebEx. Members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television or on West Hartford Community Interactive, Channel 5, on Frontier Channel 6098, or at www.whctv.org. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which is available on the town's website and on YouTube. Because of the virtual format of the meeting, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute the microphones on your devices when you are not speaking. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Also, I will ask all members of the committee and the applicant to not address other participants directly. Requests for information must be made through the chair. After you state your name, simply preface your question or comment with "through the chair," and when you are done, the chair will recognize the person who is most appropriate to respond. Although these practices may feel rigid and awkward, they will ensure the meeting is conducted in an orderly fashion and that members of the public who are listening or watching can understand the discussion. I would like to conclude by thanking everyone in advance for your patience. The new virtual format can be difficult to manage, but we remain committed to the principles of open and transparent government, and we will strive to ensure that every interested party has a meaningful opportunity to provide input. With that, our first matter on tonight's agenda is 1553-1559 New Britain Avenue, application on behalf of Newington West Farms TMC LLC, owner of 1553-1559 New Britain Avenue, also known as Newington West Farms Center, located within Special Development District number 103. The application seeks permission to amend the recently approved but yet to be constructed landscape plan. No other site or architectural changes are proposed. With that, would the applicant please proceed with their presentation?
Hi, I'd like to introduce myself through the chair. Is that what I start with? Through the chair. My name is Lorraine Tartaglia. I'm one of the members of Newington West Farms TMC LLC, who are the owners of 1553 to 1559 New Britain Avenue. I'd like to introduce also my brother Remo Tartaglia, who's on this, and our landscaper architect, who is Frank from Birch Hill. In any event, I hope you had a chance to go by the center. You'll see that the outside modifications to the building are just about complete, and due to the pandemic and COVID, Ulta, our tenant, has decided to wait until next year to open this store location. And in doing so, we had just this opportunity now to revisit this landscape portion of our application. Our application initially had included modification to the pylon, to the color of the building, to some awnings and some other work. We also had some agreements with neighbors to cut down trees and take care of every other details with them, including snow plowing the sidewalks up and down New Britain Avenue, which we have fulfilled in this time period. But at this time, we had a chance to relook at the landscaping portion of our application, and in doing so, we found that the previous landscape architect had planned to remove very large trees that are planted and other very well-established, good-looking landscape, and we thought that it just was not something that would definitely improve or change anything. And so we didn't want to just take down these beautiful, well-established trees. We have photographs that they were going to be showing you, and we're making modifications just to the front portion of the shopping center. And we just would like you to review this again and see if it's okay, this new modification. Thank you.
From some committee members? Any other presentations, rather, from Remo or Frank Nero? Anything else to add to what Lorraine is offering?
No, Chairman, at this moment, we'll just chime in if there's any questions directed to us.
Okay, I could, thank you. Perhaps we'll start off with my understanding of this, because went to the site a couple of times and wanted to reconnect which numbers of drawings that we're talking about. I do know there was a plan done in 1999 from the landscape, and that it was largely installed. This is mostly on the north side of the property, and there's a big retaining wall there. And then a plan in 2019 approved by council that showed the area that you're speaking to, building, this portion of the building, which I understand. That was a very elaborate plan. It was approved by council then, and you're suggesting that it was not in keeping with what you want to do at this present time, and that Burchell provided a new plan, July of this year, 2020, that I have in front of me, and I took it out to the site. And it looks as though it's similar. Some of the plantings are installed according to this plan, and perhaps there's still more to be put in according to that plan. But essentially, it's your request that we take all three of the planting plans, reduce them down to this one, most current one, which is July of 2020, and complete that. And that's what I think I understand. And in my professional opinion, it's a very satisfactory plan for that purpose of the landscape that you're suggesting, and nothing else will be done. One thing I would add is at least a new pylon, perhaps. There could be some low ground cover plantings or some perennials, perhaps a little color out where the pylon is. That would just make the appearance from New Britain Avenue a little bit more attractive. But other than that, I can see why you need to go through this portion of the process back to council, I guess, modifying this 2019 plan. So that's the essence of my comments, but I think because that's all that part of this application. Does any other members want to add? Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd May, Town Planner for the record. What might be helpful is if I could share my screen. I do have some photographs that the applicant sent prior to this meeting, just to provide some context, and also the plan that you just referenced, Mr. Chairman. I think it might be appropriate to share that content on the screen right now, just so the rest of the committee and anyone watching this riveting display of governmental board review. So this is the original plan that was just approved. Mr. Gabriel referenced back in 2019. So this was, I'm sorry, hang on one second. That was the 2019 plan. We'll ignore that for a moment and we'll just go down to the plan that's in question. Mr. Chairman, so this is a zoomed-in version of the quote-unquote Birch Hill landscaping plan, the application that's the subject of the Special Development District referral. What might be useful is if we can have Mr. Nero describe some of the plantings that are shown here on the plan, specifically the new or the changed plantings. I would note that although the changes are relatively minor and this Special Development District referral is solely related to landscaping, it is ineligible for an administrative amendment. And I'm sure Drac will recall that under our Special Development District ordinances, there are certain rights afforded to the town planner for a quote-unquote administrative level review, whereby an applicant does not need to go back through a full hearing process with referrals out to both Drac and the Town Planning and Zoning Commission. However, because this plan included essentially scrapping an approved plan and starting from fresh, albeit something that was reverting back to an original approval, it exceeded my authority. Perhaps Mr. Nero, if you could jump in right now and just explain for the rest of Drac and also anyone watching, just highlight some of the changes that are being proposed here.
Mr. Chairman, Frank Nero with Birch Hill Landscaping. So after reviewing the site and going over the existing plan, a lot of the trees are still there, most of them, 99% of them, and they're really beautiful and mature. And a lot of the plant material, some of them didn't make it, like the cotoneasters in the middle of those islands, and a lot of them over the years due to snow and salt, and a lot of the other one, a lot of the issues out there got damaged over the years. So since 1999 to now, we've come up with, nicer plants. And so the changes that we want to make are the cotoneasters. We're going to sub them out, take out what's out there, which is very few, and replace them with a Carl Foster grass. Now, the Carl Foster grass, if you notice driving through the town, that's one of the big grasses that are nice throughout these shopping centers, and they do very well. The nice thing about them is, and during the summer, they could take the heat of the parking lot, especially the pavement heat. But best of all is in the wintertime, the snow and the salt, you cut them back, and there's not going to be any damage to them. So going ahead, changing the cotoneasters to Carl Foster, that's one of them. Number two, some of the two islands that only had a couple of trees, if you see it where it says the existing buildings on the left and on the right, we added some extra Carl Foster grasses there, and we're replacing all the junipers throughout the site. Now, a lot of the junipers on this site are still there, but they're old and tired, and they don't look good. So I proposed part of the plan to remove them and replace them with the same variety, because the variety is a good variety. Now, at the Python that the chairman was talking to earlier, there's a small section up there that, like he said, and that's a fantastic idea. What I'd like to do is take those junipers out and put some perennials in there. And under the Python, maybe go with the Carl Fosters, and then a couple of rows going with Black Eye Susans and Catmints, which will give you color throughout the summer. You're going to have the golden yellow color, and you'll have the blue color, which accent driving by. It'll, jump out at you, and it'll look very nice.
Mr. Nero, Todd Moon, Chairman, through you to Mr. Nero. I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second. pylon sign that Mr. Nero was describing. I'd like to graph so that way everyone can get a better idea of what we're talking about here. So here's one photograph of that pylon sign. Perhaps, Mr. Nero, this helps frame that discussion. There's also another view from the other side that might be a little bit better. So this is the new pylon sign with the new that was recently approved and reviewed by DRAC. That's right on New Britain Avenue. So the area which was just being discussed is this area down here at the bottom that our chairman indicated and that Mr. Nero's talking about here. So hopefully that provides a better sense of context for this discussion.
So going ahead, now that you can see the photo, that the Carl Foster would work good in between the poles there in the middle, and then in the front we can go with some catmints and some black eyed Susans, which will give you the color. And again, we can cut them down come winter time, and that's not going to be a problem with snow or salt. And those plants should thrive there. There's plenty of sun, and they should do well throughout the year. Any questions so far?
Thank you.
Any questions so far?
No, none.
And other than that, all the rest of the plant material throughout the site is going to be the same. There's not going to be much changes. Anything that's dead is going to be replaced with the same plant. The dogwoods are going to be replaced. Some of them died. We're going to change the dogwoods with a better variety of with the flowering dogwoods. So at the end of the day, you're almost going to be identical, other than that python, over by that sign. And those two islands that he showed before when he circled, the landscaping is going to be brought back to 1999, which should work very well. The trees look beautiful. You have a lot of maples there. You have a lot of mature Bradford pears, and they're filled in very nicely. And I don't like to see them taking down to put down another tree. So that, so it'll work very well. Go ahead. Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Sheldon, yes.
The question I've got is whether there is a landscape contract for maintenance.
Through the chairman, yes, there is. There's an annual maintenance landscaping package.
Todd, anything?
Mr. Chairman, Todd Dumais, Town Planner for the record. If there are no further questions from the commission, and by show of hands and or nods or shakes of the heads, there do not appear to be. If the applicant has no further presentation or comment, I think it's appropriate, since this is a formal referral, for you to call for a motion on a recommendation on the referral.
Okay, I will do that and call for a motion. Sheldon, yes.
I move we accept the refined plans as presented by the applicant.
A second? Second, Mr. Giolito. Okay. Roll call vote, Mr. May.
Kimberly Parsons Whitaker.
In favor.
Sheldon Crosby. By a nod of his thumb, that's a yes. Mr. Giolito.
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
With that, by unanimous vote, the Design Review Advisory Committee finds the plans to be consistent with its performance criteria and recommends approval of application STD 103R120 to the Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Chairman, just give me one moment. We'll have.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Applicants exit, and I'll get the others out of our waiting room. I'll let you know when we're ready. Mr. Chairman, for the record, Todd Planner, the next item on our agenda is 511 New Park Avenue application filed on behalf of Aldi, owner of property located at 511 New Park Avenue, also known as the West Hartford Place, located within Special Development District number 94. The application seeks permission to expand the existing Aldi building, enlarge and enhance the existing on-site bus stop / shelter, and make associated site improvements and parking improvements. With that, will the applicant please proceed with their presentation?
Yes, can everybody hear me? Matt Bruton, I'm an engineer from BL Companies. Great. And Todd, do we have Bruno Lorenco on the line as well?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Burton. Yes, he is on the line. He's a call-in user, so he is here and
Great.
he's available to speak. I'll ask our moderator to go ahead and unmute Bruno, and then if Bruno is just quiet in his end, as long as we don't have feedback, he can chime in as necessary.
Great. Thanks, Todd. So good evening again. My name is Matt Bruton. I'm an engineer from BL Companies. For the record, I'm the applicant, Aldi Inc. As engineer. So I'll walk you through what we're looking to do here. Have Bruno add items as he sees fit. Todd, can you share the plans that were submitted so I can, help depict to the commission what we're looking to do here?
Mr. Chairman, need one moment. I'm having a technical difficulty pulling up this set of plans.
So while we're waiting, how's everybody doing? Everyone surviving COVID okay?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Burton, they should be able to see the plans. This is the full plan set, so Mr. Burton, you'll have to let me know which sheet you're interested in speaking to.
Can you scroll down to the next sheet, which should be Site Plan SP1? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this will give the commission a good idea of what's going on here. So as Todd mentioned, this is 511 New Park Avenue, which is a 35-acre parcel in the SDD zone. You guys are probably familiar with this plaza. It not only houses Aldi, Chick-fil-A, BJ's, and also Home Depot in the rear. So this plan that you see in front of you is zoomed in on the frontage of the lot, which is Aldi on the left, Chick-fil-A on the right. The entrance to the plaza is just to the right of Chick-fil-A, and the Park Avenue is obviously towards the bottom of the page as well. So what Aldi's is looking to do is do a 1,040 square foot building addition in the loading dock area, which is to the rear of the building between Aldi and the BJ's gas canopy. I don't know if Todd can highlight that, so that'll pop out for you guys. In addition to that building addition in the loading dock, they're also looking to do some minor parking lot renovations to account for this. So that includes expanding some parking stalls just outside of Aldi, relocating some landscaped islands, and then also some new striping and stop bars to help the traffic flow on site. The loading facility, obviously the loading dock, we're actually expanding the concrete area and revising the retaining wall that faces towards BJ's. As mentioned in the application and introduced by Todd, there is common driveways as part of this application that services all of these tenants. So on the right-hand side of the screen here, you see is the existing CT Transit bus drop-off area. We've had extensive conversations with the town, with CT Transit, and with the other remaining tenants on the property to help facilitate a cleaner operation of this area, as it does get pretty jammed up with all the tenants and traffic flow here. So what we're proposing to do at this moment is to restripe the area, because there's a quite worn out pavement markings to date to help better define traffic lanes. We're also trying to expand the bus drop-off area to accommodate the large CT Transit buses that do frequent the site for people that are not driving or walking on their own, and also to update the bus shelter to CT Transit standards and to a better, more modern design that is, I guess, the town of West Hartford is aware of, has been causing problems, as you are aware. The existing shelter is a solid block construction, so there's not a lot of see-through visibility on it, and it's been a problem, a nuisance for the tenants and also for the town as well. So we're looking to upgrade that as well. In addition to that, Todd, if you want to just scroll a couple pages forward to the LL plan, the landscape plan, I think I'll jump there next. Perfect. So yeah, if you zoom in, yeah, great. So as you can see, there's a minor modification of the parking lot adjacent to the building expansion and the loading dock. So we are proposing new trees in those islands and along the perimeter of the loading space, along with shrubs as well. We have called out some existing mature trees between Aldi's and BJ's to remain, as we're not looking to take down trees and then just replace them. We'd rather keep the mature trees as well. So pretty small disruption area, but we obviously want to make sure it's beautified and fits in with the rest of the plaza. Todd, if you want to go to the last page of the set, I'll just show you the architecture.
Before we jump off, Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Burton, while we're on the landscaping plan, can you just clarify whether or not the proposed bus shelter expansion, particularly the drive-through or the drive-out lane, would impact these trees in this area in terms of requiring their removal, or are any trees in that frontage being proposed to be eliminated?
Good question. Yeah, those three trees that you circled in green there, we're not proposing to eliminate or damage those trees as part of the expansion. They are very close to the areas that we are, but the intention is to keep them intact on site.
Thank you. And just confirm, you wanted me to go to the architectural page at the end, correct?
Correct. So I'll have you start with a top elevation. Okay, so everything, the top elevation, which is side elevation number 4, everything is grayed back is existing kind of conditions. So this is the elevation that faces New Park Avenue. There are a couple of things happening here, mostly related to signage. There'll be the removal of the existing food market signage, and then the upgrade, as you see in color there, of the new Aldi sign with their new logo, and then again, this will face Main Street. The next elevation down, which is number 3, this is the rear of the facility. So this will be facing BJ's gas canopy. So the area that is colored is the new facade. The gray facade is the existing one that we just pushed back, just to highlight what is new and what is old. So this is going to be a brick expansion because that is what the existing facade is made of. To match architecture, so it doesn't look like there's two different, kind of quilt work of expansion from existing to proposed. On the existing brickwork, we obviously have a modular brick soldier course that goes about 3/4 of the way up the building to match the existing soldier course. And we also have some vertical control joints that are called out as well there to give some vertical elements. Todd, if you want to go down to the next elevation. So rear elevation number 2, this is the elevation that faces your the neighboring gun manufacturer to the west. There are no proposed changes on that facade. If you go down to the bottom, which is the front elevation, this is the elevation that faces Chick-fil-A in the parking lot. Starting from the left, obviously the replacement and removal of the Aldi's main sign with the new logo, the removal of the food market signage. We are, as you see, about 3/4 of the way over. We are removing a door and infilling with brick to match the existing facade. And a new door will be placed closer to the expansion. And then the colored brick section is the expanded 1,000 square foot addition. That is an extension of the existing brick facade. Same thing with the modular brick soldier course, about 3/4 of the way up. And that vertical dark line control joint as well. So this should look like seamless construction if you did not know what it looked like before and you come visit after construction. So that's kind of a high level overview of the site and architecture. Bruno, do you want to give a kind of a quick recap of the program and what the expansion does for Aldi as a business once it is completed?
Sure. So in the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, we rolled out a program nationally to expand all of our stores, expand and remodel all of our stores. And this remodel, it depended on the age of the store, the current size of the store, and so on. But the goal was to increase our product offerings, and especially our fresh offerings, as well as update old mechanicals for older stores. So, for this store specifically, we've been talking. This store has been on the kind of the agenda to do this since 2017. We had to work out some things with the bus stop, and obviously with the other condo members, which took a significant amount of time. But with the remodel, we're going to go from 60 feet of multi-deck reach-in coolers to 120 feet of reach-in cooler. Our refrigerated produce will go up to 36 feet, as well as our fresh meat offering. So all the things that Aldi is today, as far as gluten-free and all the kind of the way grocery has been trending, that the additional space will allow us to kind of provide that to our existing customers. So the sales floor goes from an existing 9,700 square feet to just a little bit over 11,500 square feet. That's a small addition. We'll take some space away from our storage as well. So the addition helps us increase our sales floor. We have 26 stores in Connecticut. We've expanded or remodeled all of them. We just opened our new Britain store on Farmington Ave today. We expanded into the old Subway space. So that store has been completely remodeled, brand new mechanicals and so on. So, we're looking to do the same thing in West Hartford. So we've done every store in Connecticut except for West Hartford and West Haven, Connecticut, which is also planned for next year. After that, all the stores will be completely done with the new guidelines. Because of the age of West Hartford, we also plan on updating all the mechanicals. That means that we take our current refrigerant units that we have and we replace with a CO2 non-polluting refrigeration system. So everything comes out, everything gets brand new, the old refrigerant gets disposed of, and now we have a non-polluting CO2 system. All our lights are LED. We've been able to get some significant rebates from Eversource because of the work that we've done in Connecticut with all the upgrades on our mechanicals as we completed our remodels. So again, it's about a $2 million investment for us. This store with the mechanicals and then the interior fit out as well. And obviously there's some additional work with the bus stop as well as Matt has talked to. We plan on starting construction in May. It's about a 15-week construction schedule. About 10 weeks of that is open, and then 5 weeks is closed, where we would plan to reopen on sometime in September of 2021. Like I said earlier, we do have an agreement with the condo association and all the members, and to do this. Part of that was obviously upgrading the bus stop. But that's it. We've spoken to Todd many times. We've sat in the office. We kind of have marching orders of what we needed to do to kind of move this project along. So I'm excited to finally get to this point and kind of get it done. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, Todd May for the town planner. For the record, you're on mute, but while you're unmuting yourself, I just want to share my screen 1 second and really thank Bruno for his persistence in working with CT Transit and the town. And he kind of glossed over this, but this was touched upon. So the image you're all seeing now is just a Google Street image of the bus shelter. So you see Chick-fil-A here in the background. Here's that older masonry bus shelter. That's not a standard bus shelter. You can actually see here in the image there is quite a amount of graffiti on there. It's a trash collection, and unfortunately it serves as a bathroom for many. That coupled with the lack of the width of this particular location to serve as a pull-off for a bus shelter causes pretty significant queues and traffic issues within the site complex itself. While they might not impact New Park Road, it does at times make for a dangerous queuing and vehicular movements coming out of Aldi's over here. Here's the gas station section. Aldi's is obviously always quite busy, as is Chick-fil-A. So this intersection in particular should stand to receive a lot of benefit off the improvements that Aldi's is very kind enough to make. I think it will enhance operations of this and provide for a more attractive, safe, and convenient experience for those taking public transit into the site as well. And I just felt it was important to highlight that and also commend the applicant for their very, very persistent efforts in working on this issue, because it has not been easy.
Thanks, Todd. Am I unmuted?
You are, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commission members, questions or comments? Ray?
I was over at the site yesterday with the plans, and I wholeheartedly agree with Todd about the improvements that this is going to make. So I congratulate the applicant as well. The question that I have is, I heard that mechanical units are going to be changed. And, there are mechanical units on the roof, and is the intention to essentially replace each unit in kind without any disruption to any of the screening or mechanical units that will be seen in a different light on the building? Mr. Chair.
Matthew, you
So the
answer the question? Yeah.
We would replace, existing on the roof currently, we have a couple of refrigeration condensers, and we have probably, I think the store, if I'm going off of memory based on the age, but we have probably 2 10-ton units, and then we have a 1 5-ton unit that sits on top of our office space. The new store would have a refrigeration rack, which is a CO2, which would replace the condensing units, and a 25-ton concentric diffuser, which sits in the middle of the store, and that's our cooling and heating for the storage. So the amount of rooftop equipment gets, it's less of it. It's bigger, but as far as because of the parapet wall, I don't think noise level, it won't be any higher. That for sure, because we have to do all the noise tests for our Canton store, and I can guarantee it's not going to be noisier. But visually, I'm not sure it would be impactful any more than it is today, just based on the number of units that we would replace it with the existing units.
I don't have anything else to add, Mr. Chairman. I just was mouthing that you were muted. It looked like you were talking.
Okay, I'm sorry. Any other questions from committee? Anything else to offer, Todd? This is a referral now to council, Todd.
Mr. Chairman, Todd DeMaiton, planner for the record. That is correct. This is a formal referral. It was just received by the council last evening, and does require a formal vote. And if there aren't any other questions from the committee, there doesn't appear to be any further presentation from the applicant. Calling for a motion. The recommendation is an appropriate action.
Is there a motion to offer? Right? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve this application as presented, finding that it is consistent with the performance criteria of the Design Review Advisory Committee.
Thank you. A second? Sheldon? Okay. Second? All right, and any others to add? All right, I too think we might add that what the planner and Roy said, to commend the applicant for taking the time to do this and to add to the enhancement of the building, as well as to improve the circulation problem associated with the bus drop-off. I understand you had quite a struggle, but you're going to take care of it. Also, getting a more appropriate bus stop, which is not going to be as vulnerable as the particular one, you know, the structure or the activities that have been going on. So I would just add that too. Now, need roll call, Mr. May.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Parson Whitaker.
I vote to approve.
Mr. Giolito.
Approve.
Mr. Crosby.
He said
For
approve.
the record, he voted to approve.
That's an approval from Sheldon Crosby.
Mr. Gabriel.
Approval.
With that, Mr. Chairman, the motion to recommend approval, subject to the 2 findings that were previously noted, was unanimous. Thank you, and thank you to the applicant.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, everybody. I appreciate it.
You too. Thank you.
Have a good night.
We have one other item on our agenda this evening, and that is the approval of the August 13th meeting minutes. Everyone present at this meeting was present at that meeting and is eligible to vote. I will note for the record, I sent those meeting minutes out earlier today, so hopefully you've had a chance to review them. If you have not, I could email out another copy at this time.
No, I reviewed. Motion?
Mr. Chairman, Ray Giolito, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented from the
Second?
Mr. Chairman, Kimberly Parsons Whitaker, I second that motion.
Thank you. Planner, roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd DeMay, Town Planner. Ms. Whitaker,
Approve.
Mr. Giolito,
approve.
Mr. Crosby,
Said approve.
and Mr. Gabriel.
Approve, thank you.
With that, Mr. Chairman, minutes of August 13th are unanimously approved. Just a reminder, our next track meeting is scheduled for October 15th, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. That will likely be a virtual meeting. Earlier this week, or perhaps late last week, I can't remember, the governor extended the executive order authorization, which has authorized these virtual meetings through the beginning portion of November. So I would expect us to operate in a virtual meeting fashion at our October meeting. At that meeting, we can reassess, and I'll update everyone whether or not that is likely to occur in November and thereon after. But as of now, the town's current position in leadership is maintaining the virtual meeting posture for the time being. Should that change, I will obviously notify all of you, and we can adjust our schedules accordingly. But at least for October, expect another WebEx virtual meeting.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks everyone for attending, and be safe.
Thank you all.